The story begins on a fine morning at a major hospital on Earth. In the neurology department, a young female doctor stared at the patient before her and asked again to confirm, "If I heard correctly, you said that whenever you see any living creature, you see it as a pig." Ye Chuan was silent. He neither denied nor explained, but his silence made the doctor quietly draw a conclusion. The doctor's face flushed. She leaned closer to him, then tilted her head and asked, "Are you joking with me? Do I look like a pig to you?" Ye Chuan calmly looked up at her, then coolly confirmed it. Yes. In his eyes, the beautiful doctor's face was just a pink pig, with a bit of sparkle around it. The doctor, both angry and embarrassed, muttered that it was the first time she'd heard of such a case. At that moment an idea flickered in the doctor's wavering gaze. She thought to herself, what a handsome young man. But it's such a pity he has that condition. The doctor took a deep breath and slowly pulled down her blouse zipper to reveal her pale chest. She felt this wasn't provocative, but a medical check to see if his hardware functioned normally. She smiled at Ye Chuan and asked what he was seeing now. "So what do you see?" Then she unconsciously smiled confidently. "I don't believe it. I'm this beautiful. Even in a neurologist's eyes I can't possibly be a pig." Just as the tempting bait was presented, in Ye Chuan's eyes, the doctor's two generous mounds were still two pigs, and he even saw them smiling at him. In surprise, he still affirmed to the doctor, "Two pigs." The doctor, embarrassed, startled, and covered her chest, then stepped back several paces and angrily shouted, "Of course you're a neuro case." After a while, the awkwardness faded. The doctor helplessly pointed at the spinal model on the table and began to analyze. "Your spine has a major problem. Look here, it's different from a normal spine, severely deformed, even with some malformations pressing on the cranial and optic nerves. This may be why you see everyone as pigs." Ye Chuan nodded. Clearly what he wanted wasn't empty diagnoses, but a way to cure this condition. But the reply was a sigh. The doctor helplessly said the only option is to realign the spine. But success odds are low, and failure could paralyze you from the neck down. He nodded lightly as if listening to someone talk about today's weather. Then he answered, "Doctor, are you finished speaking? So you can return my spine to me, right?" The doctor blinked, confused. He treated the model as his own spine, and his blank but serious expression made her pity his handsome, yet simple fate. The scene shifts to a bustling city street. On a packed bus, Ye Chuan looked very sleepy, clutching a file. The bus was crowded but no one dared sit near him. Perhaps because the file's cover read severe psychiatric disorder as diagnosed by the doctor. He lifted the file and stared at it. "My name is Ye Chuan. Since I first became aware, I see everything as pigs. It might be related to my parents being pig butchers, though it hasn't affected my life much, except when choosing a partner. Today is the awakening ceremony." He wondered if he could cure the condition before his promotion. Probably not now. The scene cuts to Chingcheng Academy, the site of the awakening ritual. Ye Chuan merged into the crowd passing through the academy gates. To him the jostling throng all looked like a herd of two-legged pigs in uniform, and he sighed as he walked, worrying whether this condition would affect his awakening profession. If so, it would be a big problem. Just then a clear voice cut through Ye Chuan's thoughts. "Ye Chuan, you're finally here if you were late. See if I don't beat you to death." Before he could react, a beautiful girl arrived beside him and playfully slapped Ye Chuan's arm. But in his eyes that small hand was a plump ham trotting on his arm. Startled, Ye Chuan turned and, as usual, saw no beauty, only a fat, ugly pig baring its teeth at him. Seeing his indifferent expression, the girl grew angry and embarrassed. She pouted and said, "Did you hear me?" Ye Chuan fell silent, unsure how to reply. He couldn't picture her appearance, only felt pressured by being bothered by an ugly pig. One girl teased, "Su Ling Xuan, why are you clinging to your Ye Chuan? Why do you two always show off like this?" Another chimed in that they're childhood sweethearts and will probably marry after promotion and have kids. The teasing made Ling Xuan flush. "Don't talk nonsense, you two." She tugged Ye Chuan along briskly. He was sweating profusely and only saw a pig chatting happily. "Ye Chuan, let's ignore them." Cut to inside Chingcheng Academy. Rows of students lined up neatly by ID number, all tense waiting their turn. The instructor's voice rang out, steady and spirited. "Line up in student number order. The awakening ritual is about to begin. Now is your chance to show what you've learned." Awakening is judged by three main attributes: strength, agility, and spirit power. The higher the three-dimensional stats, the higher the awakened profession. The headmaster reminded the students of the procedure. When you awaken, focus all your mind and effort. The awakened profession affects your whole life. Obtaining a high-level combat profession is like defying fate, earning universal admiration, and bringing endless honor to Chingcheng Academy. When the first student was ready, he called out loudly, "Begin. Place your hand on the stone statue." As soon as the boy touched it, a bolt-like spirit energy spread across the statue's surface. To his amazement, it judged the first as a livelihood profession: mid-level welder. The result left the student gaping in shock. Beside him, the headmaster closed his eyes as if unfazed. The next student checked in as a livelihood profession, senior mason, but he seemed unhappy and dropped to his knees. The third student was worse, clutching his head and screaming when he received the result. Livelihood profession, low-level engineer. Because the earlier results were discouraging, when his turn came, Jinglong trembled violently, approaching the statue like ascending a death throne. He was drenched in sweat, slowly reaching his hand toward the statue, but even racing an old turtle, he still had to place his hand on it. Immediately a blinding golden energy appeared, and words formed on the statue. Combat profession, Shadowless Blade Master, rare rank. This information left both Jinglong and the headmaster open-mouthed in astonishment. There were shouted exclamations from everyone. It was rare rank. Those present were so stunned they couldn't close their mouths. The headmaster scratched his chin, narrowed his eyes, and laughed loudly. He asked, "Student, what is your name?" The trembling that had gripped him earlier was gone. He wiped his sweat coolly and replied, "Headmaster, I'm Liu Jinglong." The headmaster immediately placed a hand on his shoulder and gave a word of advice. "Great name, rest for now. I'll personally visit your home later to discuss life plans with your parent." He strutted off arrogantly, then Jinglong waved at the headmaster and said thanks, while the others shouted excitedly, "Long bro is awesome." Immediately after, the headmaster loudly called the next name, Ye Chuan. He strolled toward the headmaster as Ling Xuan cheered, "Come on, Ye Chuan." As he passed, the headmaster glanced and calculated. This kid usually seems slow, but his three-dimensional stats are very high. Ordinary people, total about 3. He has 10, 3 times normal. When Ye Chuan placed his hand on the stone, the headmaster wondered if a miracle would occur. Suddenly, golden and purple lightning erupted across the statue, blasting everywhere and terrifying everyone. The headmaster gaped in shock and shouted, "Purple gold light." This is when the smoke cleared. Purple characters appeared on the statue declaring a divine rank profession, making Ye Chuan widen his eyes, jaw-dropping in astonishment. The headmaster could hardly believe it, shouting, "Divine rank, it's really divine rank." But then the full line slowly appeared. Livelihood, profession, divine rank pig butcher, striking the headmaster's hopes like lightning. His joy vanished, and he paled in doubt. A pig butcher? At the same time, those below doubled over, laughing. What's wrong? How could there be such a stupid profession? Is he lucky, or cursed? Hearing the students' jeers made the headmaster's face darken. He gritted his teeth, thinking it's not a joke from heaven. Zhao Mingbing, I've been headmaster for years and barely saw a divine rank profession. He raised a trembling hand and cursed silently that it's only the most useless pig butcher. Even a divine rank smith or healer would have made him proud. He hugged himself with one arm and held his forehead in silent despair. Truly, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. He expected the kid to shine, but instead it flopped. Seeing Ye Chuan still standing there, he wanted to congratulate him but stammered, "Student, what's your name?" Meanwhile, in Ye Chuan's head, thunder boomed and left him puzzled. A blue info panel appeared with Ye Chuan's stats, confusing him. The system showed apprentice rank 1, strength 5, agility 3, spirit 2, talent, unique to other tribes, urban god recognition, skill Shuwing Tufu level 1, pig-typed nemesis. Attacks deal 50% extra damage to pigs. Killing a pig increases this talent by 1%. Damage from pigs to you is halved. Urban god recognition lets you designate a weapon as a pig-slaying knife. Each pig killed by it grants 0.1, free attribute P. Oints. Shuing Tufu. The butcher fires his chi to force pigs into fear for 1 second. Reading this, Ye Chuan sweatily muttered, "Pig nemesis." Very quickly he accepted the fate the system set. Ye Chuan smirked and said, "Attacks deal 50% extra damage to pigs." His eyes glowed with bloodlight. Ye Chuan praised, "Looks like being a weirdo isn't so bad." Then he looked at the headmaster and the pig-faced crowd below, pleased, since in his eyes the world was full of pigs. After the check, Ye Chuan casually left as he arrived amid the scrutinizing pig-faced group. Jinglong and his friends openly laughed at him. Watching Ye Chuan pass, Jinglong pointed and mocked, "Thought Qingcheng Academy had a dragon, turns out it's just a pig killer." His buddies gleefully joined in, laughing, "Our Qingcheng Academy only has a one-legged dragon." Then he looked at the one who had awakened the combat system. The rare Shadowless Blade Master patted his horse's rump, that was big brother Liu Jinglong, which made him squint and praise, "That kid." Over here, Ling Xuan arched her back and pushed out her chest, watching Ye Chuan hang his head and comfort him. "It's okay, Ye Chuan." Then she earnestly stroked his head to reassure him, "Your awakening as a divine rank pig butcher is like inheriting your father's trade." This public display of affection made the men furious, gnashing their teeth and cursing, "Damn it, how many lifetimes of virtue did this kid cultivate?" Ling Xuan blushed and struck a cute pose, adding, "Uncle Dai will be happy, my father will be happy too." While Ye Chuan seemed absent-minded, thinking they had been neighbors since childhood. Remembering sharing a lollipop in front of both parents, He murmured that both sets of parents are livelihood professionals and always supported the two of them. On the high platform, the headmaster regained his composure and continued calling the next name, Shu Ling Xuan. She turned and tapped her cheek, stuck out her tongue, and promised her childhood friend, Ye Chuan. It's my turn now. Ye Chuan. I might inherit mother's tailor trade or father's winemaker trade, but whatever it is, I'll always be by your side. Ling Xuan's words startled him. His eyes widened, and he felt a bit moved. On the platform, Ling Xuan hesitated and reached out toward the stone statue. The moment she touched it, a gentle green energy flared up and shot toward the ceiling. Ling Xuan gaped in astonishment. The headmaster gaped and shouted hoarsely, "What? This is a legendary profession." In the air, tiny pretty snowflakes suddenly appeared and began to fall. On the statue, bold characters emerged. Combat profession, Snowline Sword Immortal, legendary rank. As the result appeared, the headmaster grew pale and sweat poured like a shower. Struggling to speak that she awakened a legendary combat profession. Weren't her parents livelihood professionals? This is a genetic anomaly. On the platform, Ling Xuan's whole body still radiated a bluish, misty energy. Seizing the chance to make connections, the headmaster cautiously said, "Shu Ling Xuan, rest assured. If you need anything in the future, tell Qingcheng Academy and we'll do our best to provide." Here she gradually revealed her true face, hearing that she arrogantly put hands on her hips and retorted, "Thanks," then turned and walked down. The female students gossiped as Ling Xuan glided by. One is a pig butcher, the other a legendary combat profession. Do you think Shu Ling Xuan will still trail after Ye Chuan like before? The friend next to her frowned in disdain and guessed, "Need I ask? Shu Ling Xuan is improving. As for Ye Chuan, if that useless guy is sensible, he should stay away from Ling Xuan." Meanwhile, the object of their affections put on a fake clap and said, "Congratulations, congratulations." Suddenly she grew proud from the favor, turned stern and called Ye Chuan. Ling Xuan crossed her arms, her gaze now completely different from the shy girl before, coldly saying, "I admit we had some misunderstandings before, but from now on, those misunderstandings should be resolved. We are no longer from the same world." Ye Chuan stood dumbfounded and listened. On one side, Jinglong's group propped their chins, eager to watch the show. But unexpectedly, Ye Chuan immediately agreed, "Fine." Seeing this, she who was being stared at cleared her throat and pretended to be calm. "I know this shocked you a lot. Stop pretending to be composed, you're just a pig butcher, and it's hard to achieve greatness." Ye Chuan glanced at her like someone who stepped on a nail, hearing her self-invented speech, thinking to himself, "Don't blame me." Then she smirked arrogantly. "If you have no objections, then it's decided, and I hope you won't cling to me later." Before Ling Xuan finished, he squinted happily and turned away, thinking he's finally escaped that pig, and said, "If there's nothing else, I'll go first." Witnessing Ling Xuan's farce, Jinglong stepped forward like a righteous hero and asked, "Classmate Shu Ling Xuan, need me to teach him a lesson so he faces reality?" As he showed a scheming look watching her face, Ling Xuan remained indifferent and said nothing. Getting the green light, Jinglong shouted furiously, "Hey pig butcher, get over here." However, Ye Chuan acted deaf and kept walking straight, leaving him baffled. Flush with shame turned anger, Jinglong lunged and grabbed his arm, shouting, "I'm talking to you, can't you hear?" With eyes red and sharp as knives, Ye Chuan turned and growled, "Do you have a problem?" But to Jinglong those eyes looked like a demon demanding his life, filling him with terror. He recoiled, stumbling back and squealing like a slaughtered pig. Imagining Demon Ye Chuan holding a knife about to butcher a pig on a chopping block, he wondered what on earth was happening. That look made him feel like a pig, blinded on the block waiting to be slaughtered. Suddenly those around seeing Jinglong's face doubled over laughing, while his buddies rushed over, worried. "Big brother, Jinglong, what's wrong? Are you okay?" For pride, he widened his eyes and spat curses, "Damn brat." Then he flew into a rage and threw punches. "How dare you glare at me?" On the other side, Ye Chuan also glared, determined to teach Jinglong some manners. The two fists collided, sending shockwaves outward. Quickly, Jinglong clutched his reddened hand and howled in pain. This made his companions turn pale and exclaim, "What?" While Ling Xuan jumped and asked, "What's happening?" Jinglong held his hurting arm, staggered, furious, and incredulous. He couldn't believe it. The boy's just a pig butcher, so why? Meanwhile, Ye Chuan was filled with bloodlust, his gaze murderous as he said, "For a pig butcher like me, being a bit strong-handed is reasonable, isn't it?" The onlookers, shocked by Ye Chuan and Jinglong's clash, wondered in disbelief. "What's going on? Look at Jinglong's hand. Over there." Jinglong roared like a beast with its tail stepped on. "Ye Chuan, I'll take your life." At the same time, he bellowed and manifested a jade-green sword. The move made the female students scream in panic. "It's over. Big brother Jing is serious. That kid's dead. This time Ye Chuan will pay. A pig butcher keeps arguing with a combat profession. Can't he just admit defeat?" Jinglong went pale and aimed the sword at Ye Chuan, boasting the void-cleaving blade could even break steel pipes. His eyes bulged, emitting killing intent. Determined to finish him in an instant, he shouted, "I'll cripple you right here." Suddenly, before he could strike, his sword froze, then his whole body was covered in ice. Jinglong, stunned and unable to move. He glanced to one side and incredulously said, "Xu Lingxuan, why do you still want to help him?" Lingxuan crossed her arms, walked over, eyebrow raised, showing great displeasure, and demanded, "Stop it." With deep blue eyes cold to the bone, she continued as if the boys were fighting over her. "Stop it. I don't want to see you fighting over me." Then she stepped into the circle between the two men, faced Ye Chuan and said, "Ye Chuan, you see it too. We're really not from the same world. This is the last time I'll help you. Consider it a farewell to the past." While she declaimed at length, Ye Chuan lazily scratched his ear, seemingly only hearing the last line, "Go on then." Ling Xuan turned and left, self-righteously warning, "Leave Qingcheng, or if Lu Jinglong takes revenge next time, I won't help you." Seeing her go, Ye Chuan yawned comfortably and said, "If there's nothing else, I'll be going." At one side, two schoolgirls squinted in puzzlement. This kid really doesn't seem to care. Leaving Qingcheng Academy, Ye Chuan walked with his head down, ignoring everything around him. Suddenly, a black dog ran up, baring its teeth and barking to intimidate, while its owner just sneered. His eyes widened as Ye Chuan finally realized a petty incident was unfolding. He looked at a woman and her dog, both wearing pig-like faces, staring at him hungrily. Pointing at the dog biting his trouser leg, Ye Chuan told its owner, "Hello ma'am, could you pull your dog away? It's blocking my way." But she shoved her piggish face forward and snapped back, "Is this your road? Have some manners." The younger generation nowadays really lacks compassion. Ye Chuan sighed in annoyance and muttered he had a hunch to test. Then he shouted like lightning and kicked the black dog, startling its owner to a scream. Tears streaming, she stared at her foaming dog and wailed, Son, don't scare your mother like that." Meanwhile, the system popped up. Killed a small pig-sized creature. Rank increased by 0.1%. Extra damage to Portkin nemesis increased by 1%. Seeing this, Ye Chuan gaped, exclaiming in surprise, "So it really works, it actually takes effect." Suddenly the pig-faced lady flew into a rage, claws raised, rushing over to curse, "You bastard, you killed my son, you bully an old woman like me, I'll go all out against you." But Ye Chuan remained utterly calm and dropped a weighty line, "I'm mentally ill." Her claws halted immediately in front of him. At the same time, Ye Chuan pulled out his psychiatric report for her to see. With eyes bloodshot and fierce, he threatened, "Anything else, or I'll be going." The pig-faced lady broke into a sweat, thinking fearfully she'd met a lunatic, not worth dying over her dog, or even herself. She immediately slapped her own face, softened, and said kindly, "It's nothing, young man, take care of your health." Finally he reached home, a cozy tiled roof house. His parents stood at the door happily. "Son, you became a pig butcher?" Yi Chuan stared blankly, unsure why they were so happy, and replied, Ti Wei placed a hand on his shoulder, nostalgically. "This kid really followed his father's trade. Being pig butchers is good. Better than all that fighting and killing. Tomorrow I'll take you to the slaughterhouse to get familiar." That night the moon rose high, another peaceful day was ending. Ye Chuan wore pink pig pajamas, lay curled up, and snored soft. Suddenly, a figure appeared in a swirl of dark smoke, eyes glowing with green light in the night. He glided past Ti Wei and his wife's bedroom window. His eyes still shut, Ti Wei warned, "You surely know my son is just an ordinary pig butcher. Don't come disturb our lives anymore." The other wore an ancient hat hiding his face and replied, "Unexpectedly, the demon's crying son is a pig butcher. Ye Ti Wei, is this boy really your biological son?" Those words angered him. He flung his eyes open, cold enough to kill the talkative one. Then he sat up, his eyes bloodshot with killing intent. "I told you, stop pestering us, or I won't be polite." Seeing that, the mysterious man waved defensively. "Don't be angry. If your son really is only a pig butcher, the organization certainly won't bother you further." In the blink of an eye, he vanished completely under the moonlight. The next day, at the slaughterhouse, Ti Wei led Ye Chuan on a tour of his new workplace. Finally, he took him into a private room. It displayed 3 pigging knives of various sizes and styles. Ti Wei said, "A good pig butcher starts with a good knife." He pointed to the tray holding the 3 knives, and told Ye Chuan, "Son, come pick the most comfortable knife." He obeyed, and examined the knives as if they were treasures. Then he gripped a handle, and lifted one out, saying, "This knife suits me well." As he held it, the system notified. Selected pigging knife, Shenfeng Ren, effect activated. Using this knife grants 0.1 free attribute points each time a pig is killed. Then Ti Wei stood before a hog hung by its jaw and said, "As a pig butcher, the first step is learning to use your knife." The pig, sensing its end, struggled and uttered its last squeals. Standing with arms folded behind him, Ti Wei coached Ye Chuan. "Aim for the weakness, a killing strike." Then he told him to try. The first step was learning to slaughter. Holding the sharp iron knife awkwardly, Ye Chuan finally, decisively swung, one cut, and blood sprayed. The strange pig then rolled its eyes and tongue stiffened as it died in an instant. At the same time, the system announced, used pigging knife to kill one normal pig, rank plus 1%, extra damage to porkkin nemesis plus 1%, free attribute, plus 0.1. Though new to the knife, his practice exceeded expectations. T-Wei praised his son, well done, but noted one regret. The strike wasn't precise enough to kill in one blow. You must target the major artery in the neck. He kept nodding repeatedly and uttering at the advice. Seeing his son still inexperienced, T-Wei smiled and urged him, son, I know slaughtering is dull for your age, but it's our livelihood. Contrary to his expectation, Ye Chuan showed no hesitation and even pointed at the pens wide-eyed, asking, Dad, can I take care of killing these pigs? Hearing this, T-Wei was shocked and delighted, bursting into laughter. True son of mine, if you want to slaughter, Bo Li's and Shu Chen's pigs can be yours. As training and leveling, he tirelessly sent each pig off one by one, until the system announced, killed one normal pig, rank plus 1%, extra damage to porkkin nemesis plus 1%, free attribute plus 0.1, rank advanced to level 2. The second strike was a left slash. The system announced, killed one normal pig, rank plus 1%, extra damage to porkkin nemesis plus 1%, free attribute plus 0.1, rank advanced to level 3. Finally, Haifeng didn't hesitate, and cleaved it in half with a direct slash. Immediately the system announced, killed one common pig, rank plus 1%, extra damage to porkkin nemesis plus 1%, plus 0.1 free attribute, rank advanced to level 4. After a whole morning hard at work clearing a pen of fat pigs, sitting beneath the racks with carcasses hanging in rows, Ye Chuan held the knife, scowling as he watched the screen. System notice. Killed 49 common pigs, extra damage to porkkin nemesis plus 100%, 3-dimensional attribute increased from 10 to 15, current rank, skill level 5. Standing in the cold storage racks watching Ye Chuan's performance, was T-Wei's partner. He was astonished, mouth agape, exclaiming in surprise, Is that your son? Why is he addicted to slaughtering pigs? He finished a week's worth of our work already. At that remark, T-Wei just narrowed his eyes and smiled gently, folding his arms with a hopeful, confirming look. After all, my son is a god-level pig butcher. As for him, he still looked a bit naive, glancing at the tools feeling he was now proficient with the butcher's knife. Perhaps it's time to leave the slaughterhouse and see the outside world. So he decided to do it immediately. The next day, when Ye Chuan prepared to leave his apartment, he pulled the door shut behind him. Legend has it that in this world countless heavens and races sprang up like mushrooms, demon clans rampaged arrogantly, nothing but bizarre, terrifying beings. Humanity no longer had nations, but formed a human federation, divided into 9 sectors. Ching Chung sat on the border of the 5th sector. Right at the borderlands, beneath the massive stone gate guarded by sentries, he gradually made his way outward. They were tasked with warning citizens, immediately blocking Ye Chuan with their halberds. A livelihood class profession like yours can only operate within 1 kilometer of the outskirts once outside the city, otherwise it's life-threatening. Though well-meaning, their expressions were somewhat frightening. The guard kept staring and asked again, You understand? And Ye Chuan replied, Alone, he pressed deeper into the gloomy forest, trees growing tight and twisting together, blocking almost all light. Suddenly, the grass behind him rustled slightly. Without hesitation, a greenish goblin leapt out of the bushes, brandishing a knife and grinning to reveal fangs. Closing in aggressively on Ye Chuan, it jeered. Taken by surprise, he looked startled, eyes wide. Judging by the color, it was probably a goblin. Perfect chance to test Shuiying Tufu, so he decided on the spot to use the Shuiying Tufu skill. Small fry stand, no chance, choosing the wrong civilization causes panic, and the goblin was scared out of its wits. Because it couldn't flee, in an instant he slid across the ground and decapitated it. Continuous update. System announced killed 1 goblin pig, rank plus 5%, extra damage to porkkin nemesis, plus 1%, plus 0.1 free attribute. From the reports, Ye Chuan deduced a strategy. The stronger the pig kills, the more he levels up. Perhaps because everyone respected him on the road, while he was absorbed in the screen data, dozens of bright green eyes appeared from the dark forest behind, as if ready to tear him apart. Entering this danger, he stayed calm, not fleeing in panic but recalling his teacher's warning. When you spot 1 goblin, don't relax, you're likely being watched by a group. His hands from earlier practice felt more agile. Instead of having to seek more targets, prey was delivered to him. He coldly called out that he could level up a lot now. Come on, goblin pigs. Detected, they revealed themselves. A whole pack of goblins swung down from the trees, sprinting fast, screaming and laughing madly. Standing in place, he swept 2 slashes, launching a group into the air. Then Ye Chuan lunged like an action movie and thrust the knife down, cleaving the green goblin pig. Though numerous, they were weak. After seeing their kin continuously decapitated, the rest fled in panic. Yet their luck ran out, and their heads still fell. Only one remained. Realizing this wasn't a fluke but fate, the goblin pig went pale, sweating and trembling as it gripped its weapon forward. Ye Chuan's eyes flashed red with menace. "Come here, little one, let's play." Yet he didn't finish it off, letting it flee screaming in terror. Standing before a wide gap, he hazily guessed, this must be the goblin's cave. Luck on his side. A slaughter lust rose with a crazed, inhuman smile as he strode inward. Today truly marked their end. Only the goblin pig's wails echoed miserably. Under the red light, their bodies lay scattered. Some were flipped over, soaked in blood. Staring blankly at the screen, the system announced, Name Ye Chuan. Profession God-level pig butcher. Skill rank level 6. Strength plus 25. Agility plus 25. Spirit plus 25. Pork kin nemesis trait, plus 120% damage to pigs. While checking the notice in the cave, a sound came from behind Ye Chuan. By reflex, he immediately turned his head. The battered wooden door behind him, partly broken, thudded louder and louder. He kicked hard and smashed through the flimsy wood. The silhouette of Diepthine emerged behind the red light, mysterious. Inside, a girl was tightly bound, gagged and crying, trembling with fear, and a few newborn goblins crawled around whining for milk. At someone's arrival, she burst with hope, tears begging, "Save me, save me." After Ye Chuan had dealt with the goblin pigs, a problem arose. A bound girl emerged from behind the wood, crying in terror. His whole figure glowed red as he coldly raised the knife high. The sight terrified her, and she pleaded in a trembling voice, "Don't kill me." Thinking she was done for, she dared not open her eyes and clenched the paper in her mouth. Fortunately, the two swift slashes had been aimed solely at the goblins and hadn't grazed her at all. Feeling the blade sweep past her, she screamed in panic, eyes wide, and dropped the paper. Meeting for the first time, Ye Chuan kneeled slightly, watching her and advising, "Don't make noise, the goblins are all dead." "Are you serious, sir?" She rolled her teary eyes back toward the body in the blood pool. Finding her savior, she immediately sobbed and hugged Ye Chuan. Thank you for saving me. The goblins almost assaulted me." Taken aback as if struck by a second beauty, he blurted honestly, "I'm not here to save you." Looking at the sprawled bodies, limbs limp, she asked in astonishment, "Did you kill all these?" Then she marveled and praised Ye Chuan. "You're amazing. You're a combat class profession, right?" But her original goal was just to deal with the goblins, so she quickly left. He was gone, vanished as she asked, "What's your name?" Brusquely answering with just 2 words, Ye Chuan, he strode off, forcing her to chase him to the cave mouth. He pointed bluntly and instructed her to leave the cave and follow the other path to return to the city. Staring into the dark, gloomy woods sent chills down her spine, joined by distant wild animal cries. No sooner had he finished speaking than Ye Chuan quickly left, taking a single step. The girl he helped didn't leave the forest. She hid behind a tree and watched Ye Chuan. While she was careless, he suddenly closed in with a terrifying face and glaring suspicious eyes, asking why she followed him. Was she a goblin spy? Startling her. Not stopping there, Ye Chuan pressed the sharp knife to her face. She went pale and stammered forced laughs. No. I'm just too afraid to go home alone." Trusting she meant no harm, he lowered the knife and wide-eyed asked her name and why she was here. She introduced herself. "I'm Zia Nanan." She shyly explained why she was deep in the wild. Her mother's birthday was in a few days and she intended to pick a shuiyehua as a gift, but was ambushed by goblins. Bound and embarrassed but focused on her goal, Nanan gently proposed a deal. If he helped her find the shuiyehua, she'd arrange for Qing Cheng's best forger to craft him a new knife. Skeptical, Ye Chuan asked how much that would cost. He then demanded she go home and not follow him, or he'd cut her. Annoyed and slightly offended, Nanan glared and cursed inwardly. After all, she's beautiful. Why is this kid so cold? Is he out of his mind? When force failed, she resorted to flattery, trailing close and nagging. "Do you know who I am?" "My father is Xia Beihai." Hearing the name, Ye Chuan's mind clicked. Xia Beihai, of the Xia family, one of Qing Cheng's 4 great powers. Head Xia Beihai is a 9th-rank grandmaster, 1 step from patriarch level. He couldn't refuse if it was true, and his face lit with scheming delight. Really? With her father's resources, forging 10 top-tier pig knives would be no problem. To prove she wasn't lying, Nanan awkwardly showed a protective token from the Xia family, saying her father's gift would prevent harm even from a 9th-rank fighter, though the goblins ambushed her. Growing craftier by the day, seeing Ye Chuan's perverse look made her blush, but the token kept them from approaching, so they locked her up. She pressed the token to his eyes at close range, voice weak, saying otherwise the goblins would have gotten her, and his confirmation proved it was indeed a Xia family item. Completely convinced, Ye Chuan agreed at once. "Fine, I trust you. I'll help find the shuiyehua if you help forge a top-tier knife." Nanan was so shocked she lost her voice. Since it was getting late, she quickly sealed the deal with a handshake. She pulled a paper map from her pocket and explained she'd bought it from someone else. Pointing to an X marked by a purple venomous snake, she said it shows the Shuiye Hua's location, but where the flower grows, the Shuiye Juman lurks extremely dangerous. Tough problem, bro. Ye Chuan rubbed his chin, unsure how to handle a mighty beast. Nanan confirmed the notes. Shuiye Juman rivals a 9th-ranked disciple. She wasn't sure if his current strength could face it. The strange things only excited him more, emitting a dense, sinister aura as he grinned dangerously. I'm this big, and I've never seen a Kormang before. Her voice grew hoarse from wanting to speak but being ignored. Feeling slighted, does this guy even listen? But if he alone can wipe out a goblin tribe, he's surely a god-tier combat class. Shuyin Diap hurriedly urged, hurry up, you're in charge of guiding. His looks earned him forgiveness. She felt a flush. For some reason he felt both trustworthy and untrustworthy at once. Cut to the forest view, palm branches fluttering in the wind, both crouched low, hiding and watching the prey. Knowing the area's dangers, Nanan warned, this is a Yinjiao Xinyu, don't provoke it. If it goes berserk, its power can rival an 8th-ranked disciple. We should sneak past quietly. But before she could react, he suddenly grabbed the knife, making Nanan jump. What are you doing? Too many words. She told him to stay calm, but he did the opposite. Sprang up and shouted, if it dares eat grass today, it'll dare eat people tomorrow. We can't let it live. She wanted to disappear into the ground, stammering. What? What is the reason for this? He locked onto the target, switched to combat mode, and launched with maximum force. He flipped in midair, dove straight down and drew his arm back to strike. 3 zigzag slashes cut across horn, body, and legs, sparks flashing. The silver-horned bovine's roll ended here. It crashed to the ground with a thunderous sound. Blood gushed from its mouth like a fountain. Stunned should have heeded the warning. Eyes wide and mouth agape, they couldn't believe a single blade could kill it. Ye Chuan stared at the info panel as it popped up. Level up to Disciple Rank 7. Killed a silver-horned hog. Pigkin nemesis damage plus 122%. He paused, then pulled out the butcher's knife and hesitated, wondering how long this blade could last. Suddenly Nanan approached and asked, Ye Chuan, what's your profession after all? Ye Chuan kept staring at the butcher's knife and replied, a livelihood class profession, pig butcher. She was shocked and excited no way. A livelihood class could kill a Yinjiao Xinyu with 1 slash? He chopped at the carcass while speaking. Horn quality matters. This rhino bovine was probably very old, so it died quickly. Seeing that, Nanan told him, we're close, the Shuiye Hua is near, and thought again of him. This kid doesn't seem to be lying. Then the two continued deeper into the forest to press on with their journey. Nearby ahead, a group was scouting inside the deep woods. The headmaster turned and told everyone that during this field training everyone performed very well. Jing Long felt a bit proud. Worthy of a student his teacher valued. Suddenly he heard approaching sounds and told everyone to wait. There's activity. Seeing shadowy figures near the headmaster, he shouted, who's there? Come out. Both Ye Chuan and Nanan approached, surprising them. Seeing their faces clearly made him puzzled. Why are these people here? Jing Long recognized him and shouted in alarm. Ye Chuan, it's you. Why are you here? Ye Chuan looked a bit stunned and called back that he was just passing by, but he ground his teeth in anger. What did you say? A woman with them stepped forward and interjected, just passing by, as I saw it. She glanced at Ling Xuan and lied. He still can't let go of Sister Ling Xuan. That's why he followed here like a leech. Hearing that, he blinked, not understanding what was happening. To Ye Chuan, she looked like a pig, silently calling his name. Ye Chuan. Ling Xuan mocked him, freezing him in place. I thought I made things very clear last time. She repeated the insult, making Ye Chuan clench his fists in silent anger. We're from different worlds. Stop clinging to me. Seeing this, Jing Long jeered loudly. Ye Chuan, you still dare show up before me? Great. I was worried I couldn't find you. After teasing, he suddenly unleashed power, as if ready to fight. A man watching praised the burst of power. Jing Long's blade gleamed so bright. Could it be lower grade royal? Surely a true spirit weapon. The headmaster standing nearby was surprised. In just a few days, Liu Jing Long, a level 4 disciple, forged a lower grade royal spirit weapon. No mistake, he's a genius, and can hold his own, against level 6 disciple. Ling Xuan confidently stepped forward to warn him. Ye Chuan, stay away from Qing Cheng, I won't help you this time. Nanan, sensing trouble, leaned in to whisper. Ye Chuan, these people have grudges against you. He coldly asked, how much is a lower grade royal spirit weapon worth? She, confused, replied it could sell for several 100,000. Hey, are you aware of the situation? Across from them he looked at Ye Chuan with envy and grudge. Last time that kid stole the spotlight. Jing Long lifted his great sword, and advanced this time. He leapt up with a sword aimed. I must take it back. As he brought the sword down to strike, Ye Chuan gently caught it to show Shu Ling Xuan. Everyone there gaped in disbelief at Ye Chuan's parry. He forced extra power to try and shatter the butcher's knife, growling, my true strength. Finally, Jing Long cleaved Ye Chuan's butcher's knife in two. Seeing the knife snapped, a smug look crossed his face. Successful. Jing Long turned, brandished his sword, and taunted. What a filthy pig slayer. You won't even be able to kill pigs later. The headmaster frowned, thinking ordinary blades are fragile against spirit beasts. Ye Chuan, why provoke him? Don't anger him. Unexpectedly, Ye Chuan casually tossed the other half of the knife and said bluntly, You don't need a blade to deal with me. Anger and challenge showed on his face. What, you still aren't satisfied? Then don't blame me for being rude. Furious, Jinglong surged forward shouting, Go find your death. But Ye Chuan didn't back down, and raised his fist. Without hesitation he put all his strength into the punch. His blow sent Jinglong flying hundreds of meters away. The onlooker was stunned and shouted Jinglong's name. Even the headmaster gaped at the sight. The man stepped forward to help Jinglong up and asked if he was okay, while Jinglong, in pain, touched his face to check. He forced himself to reply, No, I'm fine. I'm about to faint, but I must stay conscious. The headmaster frowned and looked at him, asking, Ye Chuan. The headmaster, worried, pressed for an answer. Ye Chuan. Could it be you've reached disciple rank 7? Ye Chuan bent down, picked up the blazing red sword, and held it up. In that moment his eyes froze, pupils narrowing as an unreadable shock flashed. His face went blank, as if he'd discovered something hidden in the cold blade. A thought flickered by. This sword looks pretty great. The brown-haired man beside the headmaster was stunned, eyes wide, pupils contracting to pinpoints as if unable to process the sight. He shouted through the forest, That kid really reached disciple rank 7? Sister Ling Xuan is only rank 6. The headmaster, solid and composed, paused and narrowed his seasoned eyes, breathing out in a low voice. It's possible. The thresholds for livelihood and combat professions may look similar, but their level and G methods differ completely. Each word he spoke rang out slowly and clearly, acknowledging that combat professions require effort in cultivation, fighting, and getting injured. They must absorb combat techniques and experience, so early growth is a bit slower, but once they have insight, their development accelerates. Whereas livelihood professions progress much more steadily. For example, pill masters or armament craftsmen don't need to fight. They simply focus all their energy on their trade. He concluded, like Ye Chuan, as a pig butcher, constantly slaughtering pigs, daily raises his rank. Behind him, Ling Xuan slightly narrowed her dark brows, eyes deepening as if pondering, so he relies on the three-dimensional attribute of a high realm. She paused briefly and continued, Isn't that extremely unfair to combat professions? To be fair, the headmaster wasn't ignorant. Every word he said was precise. Each time Ye Chuan advances, he must double the pigs slaughtered, and once reaching Dung Tong Jing, the required number becomes enormous. However, after combat professions master early combat techniques, later, leveling speeds up. Hearing this, the brown-haired man was once more shocked, eyes wide in disbelief as he blurted out, So that kid used his realm to beat Jinglong, and in a few years combat professions will utterly crush him? The headmaster gave a slight nod, sweat welling on him. Ye Chuan suddenly seemed to remember something. Right, he said calmly, spreading 5 long fingers and waving at the headmaster. If there's nothing else, I'll be going first. Ling Xuan looked at him with utter contempt, her face showing boredom as her mocking voice cut in. Ye Chuan, why do you suffer like this? All this time you've been killing pigs to raise your rank just to show off to me? She glanced at him and sneered, each word sharp. I'm telling you truthfully. I've been directly admitted to Tianquang Academy. We're from different worlds. As soon as her accusation ended, Ye Chuan froze, his face expressionless like a statue, speechless and powerless. At that moment, Nanan appeared from behind and spoke in a low voice. I can't hold back anymore. Drawing his attention, she cleared her throat and continued. Will you people stop it? Ye Chuan and I are here to find Shui Yehua. They'd run into people who simply had no manners. What nonsense are you inventing? Every word she aimed squarely at fools like Ling Xuan. The plump girl beside Ling Xuan, clearly annoyed, shouted, We don't need a scumbag like Ling Xuan, yet some call him precious truly blind. Seeing that, the man beside him immediately joined in mocking. That's right, that's right. This Ye Chuan has no real skill, only good at seducing women. He already snagged one, a calf paired with a dog, forever and ever. One tone of cold contempt and one of scornful ridicule made the air suffocating. Smack. A loud sound rang out as 5 faces turned to one side from the slap, but unexpectedly, the headmaster, without uttering a word of mockery, had taken a baffling slap. Why did you hit me too? He said, upset and speechless. Nanan dusted her hands, annoyed and flushed. Ye Chuan beside her still couldn't understand why she had sided with him. When some random jerk touched her, she glared and threatened. How dare you hit me? Want to die? She summoned the sword in her hand and strode toward them sternly. Suddenly Nanan held up a token and shouted, Try touching me, and see. The headmaster went pale in astonishment. He stepped forward to restrain his pupils. Wait, stop. And when he saw the token, he realized why the girl looked familiar. She was the eldest miss of the Xia family. Fortunately, he smoothed his face and lowered himself to ask her, Miss Xia, why are you here? Nanan turned away in displeasure and snorted. She frowned and scolded. Mind your own business. I'll go where I want. Meanwhile, President Zhao, your student's conduct is worrying. Hearing that, the headmaster had no choice but to meekly comply. Yes, it's my fault, I'll discipline them properly. Then Nanan pointed at the rude girl and barked, tell her to apologize to Ye Chuan. Seeing the scene, Ling Xuan pondered. She's Xiaobeihai's daughter, why is she with Ye Chuan? The headmaster had to step forward and urge her, apologize now, did you hear me? Though reluctant, Ling Xuan had to accept. She turned away and half-heartedly said, sorry. She then glared at them with hatred and hissed, Xia Jia, just you wait. Ye Chuan, not wanting to dawdle, brushed off his hands and left. Let's go, or we'll miss bus route 2. But Jinglong shouted after him, you can't leave. Give me back the Feng blade. No matter how he pleaded, Ye Chuan didn't look back and walked off. If you want it, come take it yourself. I'm ready anytime. Jinglong was so furious he spat blood. You wait for me. They reached the main location. Nanan pulled a map out of her pomelo and examined it. Looks like this is the spot. Be careful. At that moment the system notified them. Exclusive butcher's knife selected. Shenfeng Ren activated. Each pig killed by this knife grants you 0.2 free attribute points. Ye Chuan glanced and assessed. 0.2 doubled now. Choosing this knife is essential. Nanan then once more drew 2 green and red pills from her pomelo. Curious, he pointed and asked if she had a treasure chest inside. What is that? She blushed and explained offhandedly. It's called Lei Huozu. Without precautions. If it explodes in Dungtang Jing, it will cause severe injury. Shui Yue Juman will appear later. At the crucial moment, this can save your life. After hearing this, Ye Chuan ran ahead and reminded her, you're awesome, I'll go check first. Then he leapt across to the other side of the chasm. Seeing the rare flower, Nanan couldn't help but shout. She couldn't believe it was real, and it wasn't an ordinary Shui Yue Hua, but a Shui Ting Shuang Hua. What luck! Yet, just as he reached to pick it, another fierce thing suddenly appeared. A giant beast rose from behind, fixing its bloodthirsty gaze on Ye Chuan. Noticing the strange thing staring at him, he finally realized. It looked back nonchalantly and sneered. What are you staring at? Never seen someone pick a flower, causing the Shui Yue Juman to regard him in puzzlement. After snatching the flower, Ye Chuan dashed off before the monster could react. Seeing Nanan standing dumbfounded on the other rim, he shouted, don't just stand there, act now. Then he ran fast and leaped to the opposite bank. Nanan warned, be careful. As Ye Chuan flew up, Nanan quickly tossed a Lei Huoju at the Shui Yue Juman. It struck a deadly blow, paralyzing it temporarily. Ye Chuan had just risen when the monster staggered, and he landed safely on the bank but twisted his ankle and fell on his butt. Seeing him fall, she ran over worriedly. Ye Chuan, are you okay? He sat up, propped on his hands, leaned back, and curiously asked Nanan, does that gem have that much power? After being hit by her explosive, it immediately collapsed unconscious, then fell freely into the deep chasm. A while later, Ye Chuan produced the bloodluster twin flower and said, here you go. Nanan took the flower and smiled brightly. Shui Jing Shuang Shenghua. Ye Chuan asked curiously what it did, and Nanan explained. Shui Jing Shuang Shenghua is a mutation of the snow moon flower. The normal snow moon slows aging, but this variant grants eternal youth. What woman wouldn't want an unaging beauty? Hearing this, Ye Chuan planted his sword to rise, breathed deeply to recover, and thought to himself, so that's it, mother would definitely like this. Once settled, he hurriedly leaped across again. Nanan, thinking he was fetching another for her, felt a small joy, and wondered if he meant to get another as a gift. This brat finally got smart. As Ye Chuan put the bloodluster twin flower into his bag, a loud roar echoed up from the bottom of the chasm. It was the Shui Yue Juman, not dead. It brimmed with killing intent, and slowly rose between the split where Ye Chuan and Nanan stood. She thought in shock that despite the Lei Huoju's blast it wasn't dead. The Shui Yue Juman, though not Dungtang Jing, was extremely close to the peak of Shui Du Jing 9 fathoms. Ye Chuan shouted, any more gems? From the other rim, Nanan replied. My father only gave me 1 pair. Hearing that, it seemed Ye Chuan had no options left, but unexpectedly he had a final move, Shui Ing Tufu. Ye Chuan and the Shui Yue Juman stared at each other, and he realized deep in its subconscious the reason it wouldn't spare him. What he had done to the little offspring it had raised. While the beast was distracted by painful memories, Ye Chuan leaped to the other rim, grabbed Nanan's hand, and ran, asking her as they fled, did you touch something? Hurry and run. But Nanan replied calmly, her tone somewhat sweet. Of course I waited for you after all. You risked your life to pick another bloodluster flower for me. This made Ye Chuan bother to explain. That was for my mother. Nanan scowled in displeasure, spun around. What did you say? They hadn't run far. The Shui Yue Juman caught up behind them, opening its huge mouth to greet them, full of sharp teeth and 2 extremely long fangs. Realizing the situation was grim, Ye Chuan panicked. We're done. No time he even thought leading this woman along was too much trouble. In the next second, he shoved Nanan forward to use himself as bait. The Shui Yue Juman didn't hesitate, and easily swallowed him into its mouth cavity. Nanan, terrified, screamed, Ye Chuan, can you hear me? Get out here. The Shui Yue Juman flicked out its long tongue to threaten her. After gorging on its prey, it turned back toward another target. But before it could finish, Ye Chuan had already acted quickly and skillfully from inside it. He used a knife to slice the beast's throat. Before Nanan's horrified eyes, Ye Chuan's face remained impassive. He wiped the blood from his cheek, stepped out of the creature, and asked softly, Did you call me? Seeing her rescuer, Nanan threw herself at him, hugging him tight. Thank goodness you're okay. I really didn't want anyone to die because of me. But then she covered her mouth, stepped back and cried out, Ugh, you almost got treated like dung by that snow moon beast. Ye Chuan was left speechless and annoyed. He glanced at the notification. Special pig slayed, level plus 80%, promoted to disciple rank 8, pig nemesis race plus 1% damage, plus 0.2 free attribute points. And so that afternoon at the city gate, they both called out, We're home. Nanan's steward hurried over anxiously. Miss Xia, why are you only back now? That old man was worried sick, and was about to organize a search for her. Hearing this, Nanan couldn't help laughing. We've found it. Mother will be so happy. The steward replied respectfully that if the young lady wanted a bloodluster flower, they could send someone to fetch it, since outside the city is dangerous. Suddenly, Nanan interrupted him. I want to pick it myself, for Mother, and with him protecting me, it will be fine. The steward looked Ye Chuan over suspiciously, and asked Nanan, Who is this young man? He introduced himself. I'm Ye Chuan, a pig butcher. The steward said nothing outwardly, but thought that where bloodluster flowers grow, the Shui Ye Juman appears. Why would Miss Xia pick a foolish domestic laborer as protection? But seeing him like this, could he really have fooled the Shui Yue Juman? After a moment's silence, he smiled warmly, took off the gold ring on his hand, and said to Ye Chuan, Young man, Ye truly is talented. This Hat family gold ring of mine is worth 200,000. I can give it to you as thanks for saving our young lady. But unexpectedly, Ye Chuan refused and asked for a strange gift instead. No, I only want a butcher's knife. Surprised by Ye Chuan's firm refusal, Zhao Du paused and reconfirmed, a butcher's knife. His mind filled with puzzlement and suspicion, not taking something valuable but only asking for a butcher's knife. Does this kid have something wrong with his head? Seeing his hesitation, Xianan stepped forward to explain. Uncle Zhao. Ye Xuan wants to find the best chi refiner in Clear City, to craft a spirit warrior for him. I already promised him this. Hearing that, he smiled amiably. I understand, miss. Leave this to me. Have them take you home first. The head of the household is very anxious. Before leaving, she didn't forget to bid him farewell and promise, Ye Xuan, I'll come find you later. But after Xianan had gone a short distance, Zhao Du spoke with layered implication. Ye Diep, although you saved our miss, we'll meet any conditions you set, but on this one matter, please don't get any IDs about claiming the miss, otherwise it may go badly for everyone. Amid that warning, Ye Xuan paid it no mind, for in his heart a cold thought flickered. To me, your miss is no more than a pig's head. Confronted with that beauty, he didn't hesitate and replied quickly. No problem. I promise I won't entangle myself with your miss. I only want a top-grade spirit warrior. After receiving that consent, Zhao Du finally turned away, relieved. The most skilled chi refiner in Clear City, Master Clearheart, has a very good relationship with the Ha family. I'll tell him. Tomorrow you can go find him directly. At that moment, deep in the forest, flocks of birds scattered across the sky tinged by dusk. Amid the metallic scent of blood on the wind, pale feet and members of the demon tribe approached Shui Yue's motionless body. Daoji stopped and looked at the creature he had bonded with. Now silent, rage surging. It dared destroy my favored beast and steal my spirit fungus. This human is bold. She inhaled the lingering scent in the air and let out a low, cold roar. I remember your smell now. The fury spread and turned into a heavy pressure sweeping through the forest, making all creatures bow and tremble. Meanwhile, in Clear City, Ye Xuan strolled down a crowded street carrying the clear wind saber. After walking a while, he turned into a shop that buys materials recovered from high-grade ferocious beasts. He set the horn on the counter and smiled, calling out, Hello, I want to sell beast materials. Seeing the item emit a silver glow, Zhu Qin said in surprise. Little brother, I didn't expect you. Though you look thin, you managed to catch a silver horn rhino. We can buy this for 10,000 taels. On hearing that sum, Ye Xuan paused and did the math. My father gets paid 100 taels for slaughtering one pig. This silver horn rhino equals dealing with 100 pigs. While still muttering comparisons, a flash at the corner of the counter caught his eye. He approached the glass box, tilted his head to admire it, and asked, Can this be bought for 10,000? Zhu Qin smiled sweetly. Little brother, you have sharp eyes. The Keelan soft armor is made from the scales of the sharp claw fire snake. Besides incredible defense, it keeps you warm and resists cold well. But unfortunately, it's a bit pricey. 150,000 taels. The lofty price shocked Ye Xuan. 150,000? My father would have to slaughter 1,500 pigs non-stop to earn that. Zhu Qin exclaimed in surprise. Slaughter pigs? Without answering, he slammed the clear wind saber down on the table and asked, "What if I trade this?" She was immediately astonished. This is a low-grade golden spirit beast gear. Fearing he might change his mind, she hurriedly put the armor on Ye Xuan and sweetly said, "Look, of course that's fine. This Keelan soft armor seems custom-made to fit you." Outwardly warm, inwardly she schemed. This kid has so many valuable things, he must be a high-ranked warrior. If we lure this fool, we might never worry again. Thinking that, Zhu Qin placed a suggestive hand on Ye Xuan's back. The exchange normally required a 10 to 1,000 tael handling fee, but to her he saw only a handsome lad babbling on. "For you, little brother, I'll waive the fee, but you must find a chance to thank me later, by the way. What's your profession?" To that question Ye Xuan answered plainly. "I am a pig butcher." His straightforward reply left Zhu Qin stunned and frozen where she stood. Huh? Slaughter? Pigs? A while later, at the Ye residence, a voice rang through the quiet house. "Mom, this is for you." Seeing her son approach holding a bright red flower, Su Yue froze. "This is blood gem twin flower, how did you get it?" Her surprise quickly faded into sternness. "Ye Xuan." She snapped each word as she questioned with a dark face. "Did you steal it?" He hurriedly protested. "Of course not. I went to the outskirts and happened upon 2 large snakes fighting. I saw the flower on the ground and picked it up." Seeing her son's affection, she couldn't bring herself to scold him. She smiled, pinched his cheek, and warned, "This kid, the outskirts are dangerous, what if something happens? We're just pig butchers. How could we handle it?" "Don't go again next time," Ye Xuan hurriedly agreed with a sway. "I know, Mom. I won't dare go next time." At that moment, Qi Yuan put a hand on his shoulder and laughed with satisfaction. "Ha ha ha, no wonder you're my son." But before their cheer faded, a shout from the yard cut in. "Ye Qi Yuan, come out here." Hearing someone call, he opened the door suspiciously. "Huh, who is it?" Standing there with Jing Long looking fierce, the man said, "Ye Qi Yuan, I heard your son stole Jing Long's clear wind saber." Only then did he recognize Liu Ting. He frowned and confirmed, "Liu Ting? Are you mistaken?" He recalled that Liu Ting was a childhood playmate who is now a somewhat famous 6th-rank guild warrior in town. Due to status differences, they lost touch after growing up. As he led them inside, Qi Yuan tried to stay calm. "Liu Ting, are you mistaken? My son is just a pig butcher. How could he steal your spirit beast weapon?" But as Jing Long's eyes swept the yard, he immediately pointed and tattled. "Dad, it's him." Liu Ting snorted coldly, his heavy gaze pressing on Qi Yuan. "Old friend, how are you still so clueless? You can't even teach your son, and he steals from others. I confirmed with Headmaster Zhao Mingping before coming to you." Then his gaze cut like a blade toward Ye Xuan. "Ask your son if this is true." Seeing someone come with accusations and proof, Qi Yuan frowned and turned to ask clearly, "Ye Xuan, what exactly happened?" "Unafraid," he countered. "Your son wanted to beat me up. I only took his saber, consider it a favor to him." Hearing that, Jing Long shrank behind his father and protested. "That's a lie. I didn't want to kill him, I only wanted to spar." Protecting his son, Liu Ting pressed the issue. "Kid, out of respect for your father, I'll say this once. Hand over the saber and I won't press charges." To that, Ye Xuan showed no change in expression and declared, "The saber's been sold." The words froze the air, and the next moment he shouted, "What, sold?" Since arriving, Liu Ting had been irritable. "Fine then, pay compensation 1 million. The huge sum forced Qi Yuan to haggle humbly. 1 million is too much. A low-grade golden spirit beast weapon sells for about 200,000 on the market. The atmosphere turned grim as Liu Ting stared as if he wanted to devour them. "Don't think I'm negotiating with you." Ye Xuan seemed unafraid, and even confrontational. Qi Yuan hurried to stop things. "All right, we'll compensate. But 1 million isn't small, we need time to gather the money." Liu Ting kept a sneer and set a final deadline. "Old friend, if you can't discipline your son, I'll teach him a lesson. I'll give your family half a month to raise the money if you don't. Don't blame me for turning hostile." With that he strode out, while Jing Long drew a cutting motion across his throat with his thumb, highly suggestive. After they left, the mood grew more despondent, voiced in anxious tones. "What do we do now?" Su Yue gently shook Qi Yuan with displeasure. "Wasn't he your childhood friend? Beg him." He closed his eyes in worry but tried to think of a plan. "Later I'll bring some pork to their house to apologize and try 1 million. At that moment, Ye Xuan stepped forward to take responsibility. "Dad, don't worry, I'll handle it." Qi Yuan's face was not stern but gently reassuring. "Don't worry, I don't blame you. This isn't your fault, but I just hope that if you face difficulties in the future, you must tell your parents and not shoulder it alone." This touching remark froze his expression in shock, yet strengthened his resolve to quickly obtain a spirit beast and raise his strength to guild rank, so Liu Ting won't be his match. Su Ye then gripped Ye Xuan's shoulders and demanded an explanation. Xiao Xuan, are you hiding something from us? That flower is valuable? How could a pig butcher like you have it? Now that things had come this far, his heart wavered. He couldn't hide it from his parents forever, and though determined, he was still flustered when speaking. Mom, Dad, actually, I'm not normal. Sure enough, that scared Su Yue and Shi Yuan. You're not normal? From Ye Xuan's awkward expression, Su Yue vaguely guessed wildly. Son, you don't like women? His face went blank in an instant. Ye Xuan froze as she stepped forward to gently pat his head and console him. Son, I'm open-minded. It's fine to like boys. Follow your happiness. And Shi Yuan chimed in enthusiastically. That's right, that's right. But Su Yue's next line left the two men speechless. Just stay away from my husband and son, he quickly clarified before it escalated. No, Mom, I don't like women, and I don't like men either. No, I mean, I have a slight mental illness, so I see every creature as a pig. In Ye Xuan's eyes, his aunt and Shi Yuan looked at each other anxiously. As pigs, all pigs. A moment later he suddenly roared. Wait, I'm a pig butcher, I have a mental illness. I see all creatures as pigs, so doesn't that mean I can treat any creature as a pig to slaughter? Finally someone hit the point and he nodded sharply. Uh-huh. After calming down, Su Yue discussed with him. Husband, if that's the case, then Xiao Xuan counts as a combat class profession. And Shi Yuan didn't object. Yes, of course. Xiao Xuan, come with your father. It seems I must teach you real skills. Soon after, the two climbed steps up the mountain together, his voice echoing in the lonely night. After years of slaughtering pigs, I developed a set of pig slaughtering blade techniques. Today I'll pass them to you, so if anyone later wants your life, you'll have something to defend yourself with. This concern puzzled Ye Xuan. Dad, I've already caused trouble and left us $1 million in debt, why still teach me? Qi Yuan then said something very touching. $1 million is a lot, but it matters less than our son's safety. The great way is simple. Slaughtering pigs is the same, and with that he gently lifted the slaughtering knife. His brows knitted and his gaze radiated deadly intent. Watch carefully. I'll teach you 3 moves. Qi Yuan spread his arms as if embracing the world's harmony, while Ye Xuan silently watched from behind. A purple aura enveloped Qi Yuan and the slaughtering knife he held aloft. His eyes widened, pupils contracting, as internal energy surged through his vigorous shout. Ha! One downward slash produced a powerful, razor-sharp beam of light. It tore the Black Knight into 2, revealing a mysterious expanse of cosmic void. The moon shone brightly, and the stars glittered, stirring the heart. Qi Yuan's slaughtering knife still retained a trace of the pink aura from moments before. At frowned, and suggested it was too mundane. But Ye Xuan didn't care. Having secured the sword, he planned to go out and hunt monsters for money. Outside the sky was gloomy, and the city wall loomed before withered trees. Ye Xuan tucked the Dragon Slayer saber into the back of his waistband and began plotting. The priority was to level to first stage ascension so he could confront Liu Ting. Passing 2 men, he overheard their complaints. Damn. Lately many strange tribes and ferocious beasts have appeared and attack on sight, acting crazy. That's right. I passed an armored earth ox. Normally fine, but today it chased me for 10 miles, terrifying. At mention of monsters, Ye Xuan's eyes flashed with a cruel light. Perfect, something to kill. The dense, gloomy forest was suffused with darkness and damp, creating an eerie, suffocating atmosphere. Amid the rustling wind, a foot quietly stopped in a clearing. Ye Xuan glanced back warily. The higher his spirit force, the keener his perception. Yet no flash of panic crossed his eyes. He simply stood, staring ahead. At that moment, a sword imbued with chilling, killing intent shot toward him. By reflex, Ye Xuan slipped aside. The blade grazed his shoulder. From the dark, 3 figures sauntered out arrogantly, catching his attention. The first, Hu Bang, sneered. Lucky you dodged my ambush just now, huh? Zhuo Hao added. Brother Liu Ting was right, this brat actually dared leave the city and seems ready to abandon his parents. Haha, trash. Lei Jun spoke coldly. We've waited days for you. Brother Liu Ting ordered that if you dare leave the city, bring back his severed tendons. At that moment, the Dragon Slayer saber was summoned and the system notified. The slaughter knife and divine item bonuses are active. Killing each pig with this knife grants, plus 0.3 free attributes. Staring at the notice he thought, hey, attributes are tripled compared to before, a good blade really makes a difference. Holding the knife, he calmly presented his item. Behold my new treasure, the Dragon Slayer saber. Hu Bang furrowed his brow, surprise and doubt flashing. Wait, you said this saber's name is Dragon Slayer saber? In the sudden silence, Ye Xuan merely curled his lip and affirmed, A burst of hoarse laughter erupted. All 3 rolled on the ground. Ha ha ha, you call this the Dragon Slayer saber? Do you think you're some dragon-slaying youth? He opened his mouth and chimed in loudly enough to stun the 3. Ha ha ha, actually I'm not a dragon-slaying youth. Their expressions shifted instantly, a cruel look forming as one said, actually. Then Ye Xuan simply stated the obvious. I slaughter pigs. Hearing that, they burst into laughter again, treating him like a joke, and failing to sense the killing intent lurking beneath. Zhuo Hao couldn't help but turn to his buddies and comment, "This guy's hilarious." At the same time, Ye Xuan lunged forward and slashed across the man's neck, leaving him frozen. He couldn't cry out in pain as blood slowly dripped to the ground. The system announced, using the slaughter knife to kill a two-legged pig grants 5% rank increase and 1% extra damage, or plus 0.3 free attribute points. The sight left the two speechless. Lei Jun stammered, "He's dead. What's happening? Did you see that?" All they saw was Hu Bang's blink and gone movement, as he panicked and shouted, "Hey! Damn, no honor." No sooner had he spoken than the saber shot forward. A streak of light flashed, and before he could react, his head was severed. Immediately, the news banner showed a 5% rank increase and 1% extra damage to the pig clan, or plus 0.3 free attribute points. Meanwhile, Hu Bang ran desperately, terrified inwardly. "Impossible, no way. I couldn't even see his moves clearly. This guy's strength far surpasses mine." Glancing back and catching sight of Ye Xuan, Hu Bang panicked. "He's a monster. Thank heavens I'm quick. No one beats me at fleeing." Before he could rejoice, the dragon slayer flew straight through him. It plunged into the trunk of a tree ahead, pinning him and sending him crashing to the ground without a sound. Ye Xuan stepped forward and casually pulled the saber free, just as the news banner arrived. Rank plus 5%, and damage plus 1% or plus 0.3 free attribute points. He then coldly pressed the blade to Hu Bang's body, voice icy. "You started it." At that moment his gaze landed on a book on the man's person. Ye Xuan didn't hesitate and bent to pick it up. Holding it, a pleased smile tugged at his lips. Wow, an unexpected haul. A notification popped up. Acquired primary movement skill Dark Shadow Technique, which increases agility or violently. Holding the body pinned by the spines, he smiled grimly with murderous eyes. Painful. Consider it acupuncture. And the system announced using the slaughter knife on the spined pig granted a 5% rank increase. Two nearby armored beasts startled at the commotion and immediately froze. They then turned back, baring sharp teeth and growling defensively. Strangely, the Earthox armor didn't notice anything unusual, while Ye Xuan remained disguised before it. They looked at each other and made sounds as if confused, not understanding what was happening. Ye Xuan stayed silent, holding his breath, waiting for the two beasts to return to the half-eaten carcass. Only then did he dare to twitch the hand supporting him on the ground, but unfortunately, that movement was spotted by another armored beast passing by. The scene was tense. Man and beast stared at each other in horror, speechless. It sprang up in alarm when it saw Ye Xuan's disguise. Not giving it a chance to attack, he nimbly swung the dragon slayer, and with one strike finished it off. The system notified. Rank plus 5%. Damage to pig clan plus 1%. A nearby armored beast heard the noise, and hurriedly raised its head to look around. Ye Xuan swung again and split it in two in an instant. The system immediately announced rank plus 5%, damage plus 1%. Soon, the bloody spines were thrown to the ground one after another in disgust. He bit his lip to pull out the last spine from his arm, and heard the announcement that he was 70% of the way to the Ascension Realm. Ye Xuan ventured deeper alone into the forest, thinking to himself that today he must reach the Ascension Realm. He hadn't gone far when loud noises erupted, and suddenly a giant horned beast charged out of the woods. Seeing its fierce form and the golden horn on its snout, something wrong, and blinked in surprise. What's happening?" Under his gaze, her face had warped into a deformed pig's head as she muttered, "Why has it no effect on him?" Ye Xuan glanced, puzzled. "Why are horns growing like that?" Not giving up easily, Dao Ji thought again and smiled slyly. "Little bro, if you won't feed me that's fine, but I want to ask you." Walked away, leaving Ye Xuan astonished. Suddenly she spun back, her face and bloodshot eyes furious. "Do you take me for a fool?" Dao Ji shouted fiercely. "I can still smell that scent on you, otherwise how would I have found you?" He stared at her and panicked, yelling, "If you already knew it was me, why force me to lie, why?" In that instant, with curved horns on her head, she sneered arrogantly, "And you still speak reason?" Then a red magical energy swirled around Dao Ji, forming a terrifying vortex of power. It transformed into a vine that hung Ye Xuan upside down in midair, making him wail pitifully, "A." She glared at him and warned, "Tell me where my flower is, or I'll deal with you." Immediately, Ye Xuan's eyes widened. Seeing that, Dao Ji also widened her eyes in surprise. Her brows furrowed as she activated the skill, Blood Mirror Image Technique. Somehow, she had ended up like a fish on the chopping block beneath the Dragon Slayer saber. Back in the present, Dao Ji was secretly angry and accidentally scratched her arm with her claws. Then, as she looked up, Ye Xuan fled like a madman. "Here, have the meat. Take the golden spider legs too. Consider it me buying your flower." She immediately took off and chased after him. Ye Xuan's face beaded with sweat. As he moved, he schemed, "She's not easy to mess with. If I can't escape, I'll have to try that move." He was sprinting with the Dragon Slayer when Dao Ji caught up. Suddenly, Fire Forest Lin Shi appeared beside a tree. It growled as if warning the approaching Ye Xuan. When it snapped its hand to grab, he jumped aside. Where did this pig ape come from? At that moment, Lin Shi spotted Daoji flying in with red glints. Both its fists emitted bright blue energy as its mouth roared, gathering power to strike. She lunged forward, shouting, "What beast are you? Get lost!" Instantly, Lin Shi was provoked and angrily swung to catch her. Daoji dodged to one side of its head and punched hard. Under her strike, it screamed as if hit on a weak spot. As a result, Lin Shi quickly collapsed, its eyes returning to normal. After dealing with it, she hurriedly turned to seek her primary target. But facing her was Ye Xuan, standing tall with the Dragon Slayer in both hands, his whole body dark. Daoji flinched as realization hit. Wait, this move is... He began to raise the cold blade high. With a cold expression, he uttered 2 words. Pellet Star. As Ye Xuan gathered strength, and the weapon glowed with searing heat, Daoji broke into a cold sweat. Confused this move. Impossible. Someone else knows it now. Is he tricking me? After a few seconds of assessing, she felt uneasy, and wouldn't gamble if he really knew it, she'd be dead. While her mind spun, a graceful figure approached from afar, calling nonchalantly, "Uncle Qian." Her group, led by her, moved faster toward Ye Xuan, all on high alert, sensing something amiss ahead. Their disturbance in aura made Ye Xuan involuntarily turn, and Daoji immediately focused to look. At that moment, 3 threatening figures appeared before her, radiating power. That was enough to force her to change attitude. She snapped irritably. "So you have backup. Were you baiting me? I'll remember you." After saying that, Daoji shot straight into the sky to escape, though inwardly she clearly sought an excuse to flee first. That sudden move left Ye Xuan frozen in the barren clearing, astonishment gripping his mind. While he was still reeling, Jiang Yun's group strolled up calmly. At the sight of Lin Zi's corpse nearby, Qianhu immediately turned to double-check in shock. Then he panicked and shouted to his teammates, "Miss Jiang, the fire forest Lin Shi that escaped us was just killed by this kid." Amid the chatter, Ye Xuan went pale and waved his hands frantically. "Not me, not related, I was just passing by." And at that moment, Jiang Yun advanced, his presence thudding into the ground with each step. "What's your name?" This scene made him wary. It looked like they wanted to extort him, and in this situation no one would believe his explanations. With his heart racing, he introduced himself while protesting, "I'm Ye Xuan, please hear me out, it's true." Contrary to his bleak expectation, Jiang Yun solemnly took his hand. "Ye Xuan, I invite you to join our 9 Heavens Alliance." But a pig's hoof crossed his vision, and Ye Xuan shivered slightly. His mind raced back to the name 9 Heavens Alliance, letting the thought rise. One of Clear City's 3 major powers, 9 Heavens Alliance, the Thundermaster Coalition, and the Ha family. Seeing his hesitation, Qianhu examined the remaining corpse and assessed that Fire Forest Lin Shi, a 7th stage ascender, had been felled by this kid's fatal blow. Clearly someone with great potential. "We happen to be recruiting. Joining us would be wise." Ye Xuan was worried. That demoness could kill a 7th stage ascender in an instant, terrifying power. She might target him later, so finding backing seemed reasonable. Noticing his wavering, Jiang Yun, cheeks flushed, asked eagerly, "So? We're planning to take on the Blazing Fire, Dao King, and urgently need some strong people." Ye Xuan blankly asked, "Who is the Blazing Fire Dao King?" This made her briefly suspicious. A combat class member who doesn't know who the Blazing Fire Dao King is? She quickly set aside her confusion and explained slowly. Career tier transitions divide into Apprentice, Ascender, Grandmaster, Sect Master, with 9 substages each. Breaking through the 9th stage, Sect Master becomes a Feng King. The Blazing Fire Dao King is a Feng King level sovereign. Hearing that, Ye Xuan nodded with a hint of curiosity. "I see. What's the benefit of defeating him?" Jia Wan sneered at his bewilderment. "Huh, you're truly ignorant. Defeat a Feng King expert and you inherit his title and rank, but not every weakling can challenge one." Those words ignited fierce excitement in Ye Xuan. "Isn't that a shortcut to the top? Of course I'll try." Quickly and decisively, he seized the opportunity and declared, "I agree to join the 9 Heavens Alliance." Seeing him accept, Jiang Yun rejoiced. "Great, our team has another member. Success is one step closer." Only Jia Wan was displeased. "Huh. So naive." While everyone chatted excitedly, one person calmly got to work. When Ye Xuan turned, he saw Qianhu bent over Lin Shi exerting force. The blade sliding across the beast's hide piqued his curiosity. "Are they skinning it?" Hearing that, Jiang Yun stepped forward to confirm. "Yes. To approach the Blazing Fire Dao King, you need fire-resistant armor made from Fire Forest Lin Shi's hide to withstand extreme heat. Otherwise his domain would melt you. Originally, we meant to skin it here, but it snapped its chain and ran." Right on cue, Ye Xuan raised his hand to volunteer. "Skin it? That's my specialty." This surprised Jiang Yun for a moment. "You know how to skin?" Approaching Lin Shi, he affirmed confidently, "I'm very professional." Finishing his words, Ye Xuan leapt onto the beast's body with a neat spring. His hand moved behind his back in a familiar arc and gently drew the Dragon Slayer saber from its sheath. All his strength channeled into precise, sharp motions around the area to be processed. A minute passed exactly, and Lin Shi's hide was neatly laid out. The remaining body and the outer hide separated along a perfectly precise line without any deviation. When finished, everything was packed into a large sack and placed on the ground. Seeing this, everyone gaped, mouths dropping open as if they couldn't believe it, and even Qianhu blurted, "So professional." Zhang Yun couldn't hide his impression, and praised, "Indeed, a talent." After finishing everything, the group moved on, carrying the large sack. As they moved, Qianhu showed excitement. "Miss Jiang, we got the hide. Return to forge it into fireproof armor, and everything will be ready this time. We can seize the Feng King inheritance before others." But the joy was short-lived when unfamiliar feet blocked their path. What happened before them made the whole group freeze in unison. The rigid figure of Thunderstrong stood blocking the way, his displeased face aimed straight at them. Jiang Yun was surprised. "The Thunder Master Alliance. Why are they here?" he sneered with his men looming. "Miss Jiang, would you hand over Fire Forest Lin Shi's hide to us?" Seeing them arrive just as they'd finished harvest, Jiang Yun asked sternly, "So, you've known our actions for a while, waiting here like hunters?" Thunderstrong drew his weapon without hesitation and warned, "Miss Jiang, you're clever, you must know the consequences if you don't hand it over." Offended, Qianhu tightened his hammer and declared boldly, "Try being insolent, my iron maul has no mercy." "Tension high," Jiawan proposed. "To be safe, give me Fire Forest Lin Shi's hide. I'll go fetch reinforcements." Trusting him, they hurled the sack his way for him to catch. Before Jiawan could touch it, Yechuan lunged and snatched it up in one swift motion. Instantly, Jiawan, unable to react in time, shouted angrily, "What are you doing? Give it to me." But Yechuan remained firm, refusing each word decisively. "I skinned it, so of course I should hold it." That resolve made Jiawan grit his teeth and start to speak. "You," but Zhang Yun cut him off. "Jiawan." Thunderstrong curled a mocking smile. "Looks like your Nine Heavens alliance isn't united at all." Success made her suspicious of Jiawan. Her first thought was Fire Forest Lin Shi's hide. After a moment's consideration, she accused, "Jiawan, did you betray the Nine Heavens alliance?" Accused by his teammates, he immediately defended himself, pointing at Yechuan. "Miss Jiang, why suspect me, instead of that newcomer?" Staring at Yechuan's still dazed face, he emphasized each word. "Doesn't he look like the traitor?" Qianhu suddenly erupted, lifting his weapon and shouting, "Traitor!" Jiawan no longer hid it. "Humph. I dislike your impolite noblewoman act." He dodged a sweeping strike and continued, "If you won't side with us, ruin will follow. The Thundermaster Alliance promised me several times the pay, but that bastard ruined it." Not stopping there, he jumped toward Thunderstrong and lowered his voice. "Lord Lei, we almost had it. Now we must seize it by force." At that moment, Qianhu surged forward with a shout blending with the wind. "Jiawan, deal with the traitor, you know what tricks I'll use." The sudden close-in made him hesitate, but he kept his arrogance. "Humph. You fools, with my speed you won't be able to touch me." No sooner had he finished than Thunderstrong swept his weapon and easily knocked Qianhu's hammer aside. He grinned maliciously and ordered his men, "Go kill that brat and bring me the hide." As for Qianhu, he was still shaken and pale-faced from the impact. He stared at the man in bewilderment. "You broke through to second segment Grandmaster already?" The remark dampened the air, but Thunderstrong didn't answer directly and instead emphasized, "We came prepared to deal with the Nine Heavens Alliance, none of you leave today." With that, he launched himself at them like a powerful arrow. Qianhu dared not slacken. He braced himself and reflexively blocked the attack precisely. Under the pressure, he strained every muscle, eyes rolling, and took a deep breath. Ha! Then he poured all his strength into a shove to push the attacker back. Watching the fight, Jiawan quietly drew the sword hidden behind his back. Without a word, he dashed toward Yechuan with surprising speed. But as he closed in, Jiawan suddenly sprang upward. At that moment, Zhang Yun unleashed a sonic move, forcing him to dodge skillfully. Landing beside his teammate, Jiawan urged frantically, "Stop her, don't let her play the strings." The two thugs exchanged a look, their eyes scheming as if previously agreed. They simultaneously launched fierce moves aimed straight at Zhang Yun's position. She couldn't stand the gathering, killing intent, and yanked the instrument's string, generating a dense wave to block the incoming assault like a storm. Still, anxiety rose. It's dangerous. Yechuan is only a first segment ascender, no match for Jiawan at fifth segment ascender. While she kept up defense, Jiawan seized an opening and lunged at him again. "Ha ha ha, recruiting a trash like this as an aide. Miss Jiang, you'll pay for your foolishness." Realizing she couldn't intervene in time, she screamed hoarsely, "Yechuan, watch out." But as he closed in, a fierce, pressure-filled killing intent erupted violently from his body. Jiawan's pupils trembled. Before him appeared a supernatural entity beyond control. At that moment, his whole body convulsed as if a tied pig awaiting castration. And at that second, Yechuan's system notified that Blood Phantom Enhancement had activated, reaching level 3. As he received the info, he slashed Jiawan to create distance. He then used Dark Shadow technique to glide back so no one noticed. Insulted by being attacked by someone he looked down on, he spun angrily. You brat! You play speed with me? You're still wet behind the ears, can you touch me? But as he moved to strike, Ye Xuan held up the sack containing Lin Shi as a shield, forcing him to halt. This can't be damaged. While Jia Wan was distracted, a sharp streak of light split the area around his legs in two. Clutching his injured limb, he screamed miserably. You mongrel scum, how dare you play dirty? Ignoring his pain, Ye Xuan placed his hand on the man's face and smirked. I touched you. Watching this, Jiang Yun quietly grew suspicious. This kid is no ordinary person. Can a first segment ascender leap levels to kill someone far above him unless his class is a god-tier combat class? Putting that aside, she yanked the instrument string again, forming a defensive layer to block the other enemy's attacks. Seeing the 1 versus 2 imbalance, she hurriedly called for help. Ye Xuan, come help me. But he didn't reply, only tilted his head and glanced to the other side. There, Qianhu was straining to fend off Thunderstrong's blows. The moment his sword touched the weapon, a surge of electricity erupted, making him convulse in pain. Assessing the scene, Ye Xuan began to plan. To catch the bandit, you must catch the leader first. Now handle the Thundermaster Alliance's leader. Suddenly the iron head slammed into the hard ground, sending a shockwave roaring everywhere. It turned out Qianhu had taken a full brutal strike from Thunderstrong. Though near collapse, he still stood stubbornly. Facing this obstinate man, Thunderstrong's face darkened as he stressed, the gap between a first segment Grandmaster and me is Ligheji's no match. Within my thunderstorm electric net, his body will numb until he cannot move. His steel tongue and sharp voice pressed close, panic evident on Qianhu's face. Go down there and regroup with your comrades. Before Thunderstrong could move, Ye Xuan appeared behind him to intercept. Hey, we're not dead yet. Success made sweat pour from him, and his pupils contract violently. In no time he faced the eyes ignited by Ye Xuan's blood phantom skill. Having just shocked Qianhu, now Thunderstrong felt what it was to be singed like roast pork by Ye Xuan. But the next instant he decisively harmed himself to force clarity from the illusion. Unfortunately, he had no intention of sparing the opponent from the powerful Dragonslayer saber. Although Thunderstrong barely blocked the blade that nearly ended him, he clenched his teeth in alarm. This kid's realm is only Ascender level, yet he can affect me unless he has a god-tier skill. From several skirmishes where he held the advantage, he silently vowed this one must not be spared. Just then, Qianhu beside him recovered and urged frantically, Run, you're no match for him, the gap is too great. Thunderstrong tightened his grip and flung the obstacle aside with a cold snort. You won't escape. Not stopping there, he even used his foot to create distance between them. In a flash, Ye Xuan scraped a line along the hard ground. Though just hit by him, Thunderstrong remained arrogant and sneered. What realm dares fight me? This kick could kill you. But Ye Xuan was no ordinary person. He is a class changer awakened to god tier. Unaware, Qianhu tightened his hammer, his resolve hardening as he watched the scene. This kid risked his life to buy them a chance. All his spiritual power poured into his specialized weapon. He must hold it fast. Seizing the moment Thunderstrong froze, Qianhu launched a towering leap with unstoppable force. Violent and fierce, he roared to dominate with authority. Kaishan Overlord Hammer. But Thunderstrong was no low-tier class changer. His overwhelming realm sharpened his combat nerves far more. Two completely different power sources confronted each other monstrously in midair. Unsurprisingly, the under-a-minute assault ended in Qianhu's crushing defeat. Lying dazed on the damp grass, he still managed to gasp to the raging man. You know the Jiang family's background. Kill me if you want, but touch her and the Nine Heavens Alliance will never forgive you. Thunderstrong showed no fear and sneered. The Nine Heavens Alliance is a joke. Dare they rival our Thundermaster Alliance? Relax, we won't kill Miss Jiang. My brothers plan to have some fun. Those terrifying words made Qianhu plead urgently. Please no, if you're so capable, aim at me, I'm begging you. No sooner had he finished than a dreadful shaft of light descended toward Thunderstrong's head from nowhere. This time it was different. He only managed to turn 1/3 in time. He took a full brutal slash and was grievously wounded. It turned out the strike came from Ye Xuan, wielding the Dragon Slayer saber, still brilliant. This shocking revelation left Qianhu gaping in astonishment. Despite the severe wound, Thunderstrong gritted his teeth. Brat, you're still alive, what was that move? Ignoring his meaningless words, Ye Xuan checked himself. The Keelan's soft armor is cracked without it. I'd be dead this time. After feeling his body, he beamed excitedly. You thought I was dead and ignored me? That was only the start of my counterattack. Qianhu was stunned. The kid may look naive, but his combat mind and skill far exceed his rank. Faking death to lower Thunderstrong's guard allowed that hit. The kid's impressive. He panted heavily and admitted, A master is here today. We can't linger, insolent brat. I'll remember you. With that, he sprang straight toward the dense forest, aiming to get out of Ye Xuan's attack range. We'll meet again later. Qianhu stared in bewilderment at the sudden turn of events. Running? Really? Then he turned to the battle MVP. the kid who'd done the most in this fierce fight. Thanks to him, Qianhu managed to withstand the exhausted opponent. At the same time, Jiang Yun hurried over. Are you two okay? Qianhu moved, bowed and said, Miss Jiang, I truly admire your keen eye. This boy saved me at a critical moment and wounded Thunderstrong, but Thunderstrong escaped. Young man, I owe you my life when we return to Clear City. I'll treat you. Foot baths, massages, the finest food. Seeing Qianhu keep growling at his savior, Jiang Yun struck him. Uncle Qian, stop spoiling Ye Xuan. Doubt crept back in. I don't understand how can someone a first segment ascender whom even Uncle Qian can't handle do this. Suddenly, someone's arm twitched, as if the body's owner was regaining consciousness. Jia Wan, who had betrayed them and planned to sneak away, was surprised to find 3 pairs of eyes like lasers trained on his back. Blocked on all sides, he showed such panic that his mouth flew open as if to scream. Unfortunately, the man before him was Qianhu, radiating killing intent. Jia Wan frantically pleaded, Big brother Qian, spare me. Spare me. I was wrong. My wife is pregnant. My mother is ill. I needed money and was forced into this. Qianhu's white teeth curled into a grin as he said each word. Don't worry. Out of old ties, I'll take good care of your wife. I'll even help lather her hair every night. Understanding the implication of Qianhu's words, Jia Wan despaired and screamed, No, please no. Succinct and decisive, his life was cut off. Farewell to the path of cultivation for a class changer with a bright future. After eliminating the nuisances from Thunderstrong and the traitor Jia Wan of the Nine Heavens Alliance, Qianhu said gravely, Miss Jiang, I guess the Thundermaster Alliance won't give up. We're all wounded on the way back to the city, they may ambush us. Hearing this, Jiang Yun calmly replied, Don't worry. I already sent a rescue signal earlier. The Nine Heavens Alliance will come back to pick us up soon. These are high-grade recovery pills. I brought 2, just enough for each of you to have one. Taking it in his hand, Ye Xuan's sharp eyes easily recognized that it was worth about 50,000. Nine Heavens Alliance is clearly wealthy and generous. Then he and Qianhu quickly absorbed them into their stomachs. Ye Xuan couldn't help but think this was truly a good thing. Suddenly, memories of the recent battle replayed in his head, sweat continuously pouring down his cheekbones. Without pause, he decisively posed the question to Jiang Yun. Miss Jiang, could you use that sonic attack you used on the Thundermaster Alliance people on me? She of course doubted, and asked back, You want to use my sonic attack to train your footwork? Ye Xuan nodded for an answer while his information processor ran. Dark shadow technique is learned from a scroll, and only improves through continuous practice. It's also his only current footwork skill. Against true masters, if he can't match their speed, he'll lose, so he must find a way to upgrade it. Jiang Yun gave a gentle smile, but spoke bluntly and firmly as she warned him. Ye Xuan, you really helped me just now, but my realm is much higher than yours. If you're careless, you could get hurt. However, he clearly had no intention of backing down, and directly planted his foot to increase friction with the ground. His pupils showed exceptional resolve, enough to make Jiang Yun excited to accept the request. Ready? Qianhu, watching the whole scene, didn't stop them. Good, it would test this kid's true strength. The ability he just showed might be a divine-level skill. Without wasting time, Jiang Yun's long fingers swiftly brushed over the strings attached to her pipa. In an instant, intense sonic waves shot forward with no hesitation or pause. Of course, the target was none other than Ye Xuan, who had requested it. As the razor-sharp energy blades neared him, his eyes flared red from the dark shadow technique. He successfully triggered his motor reflexes to react nimbly and dodge in a single exhalation. As if that weren't enough, Ye Xuan tensed and urged on. More, I'm fine. This enraged Jiang Yun, her expression darkening as she ground her teeth. The sonic attack is my specialty. If even a second-rank stage can't handle it. Her final words were followed by a barrage of spiritual blades that hurtled toward him fiercely like rain. Ye Xuan put all his strength into his legs, using light, agile movements to deftly deal with attacks that seemed impossible to evade. In the end, he performed an exquisitely skilled slide across the ground, turning the situation to his surprising advantage. Then Jiang Yun's eyes blazed with a sharp light, full of determination to win. It was no longer simple crescent arcs easy to dodge. Waves of sonic energy surged forward, like a sandstorm in the desert with nowhere to hide. Watching from outside, Qianhu clenched his teeth in tension, realizing Miss Jiang was serious. If she accidentally killed Ye Xuan, it would be hard to deal with. But he was no ordinary person. The aura around him flared fiercely, matching anyone's. Ye Xuan's steady voice rose in time with his movements. 1, 2, 3. Even as Jiang Yun and the others stared in stunned alarm, he calmly continued. 7, 8, 9. Something more terrifying happened next as his whole body suddenly transformed into a blood-red mist. 13, 14. Not stopping there, the further he advanced, the more perfectly excited Ye Xuan became. 17, 18, 19. Next, his foot slammed down on the hard ground neatly and precisely. Like planting himself on a solid pillar, He didn't bother changing direction to dodge but faced it head-on. The Dragon Slayer saber, slung at his waist, was instantly seized by Ye Xuan at top speed. His tight face showed a single goal: use the weapon to block the final and strongest strike. Because Jiang Yun poured significant force into this sonic wave, it was natural that he was pushed back a bit. Even though the friction was so intense it sent up thick white smoke, it didn't faze Ye Xuan at all. He was even more thrilled than when he fought that Thunderstrong earlier. Yes, this is the feeling. And then the system announced Dark Shadow Technique leveled up to 2, granting plus 40% agility for 1 minute. Being stopped so easily by a lower-ranked youth in the attack she trusted most drove Jiang Yun to fury. Once more Qian Hu hurried up to stop her. That's enough, Miss Jiang. It's just training. Don't be so serious. Our people are here. At that moment, a voice led the name in his mouth, Miss Jiang. It was the people from Nine Heavens Alliance Jiang Yun had summoned. Bowing respectfully. Sorry. We're late. She regained her composure and closed her eyes in reply. It's fine. Perhaps the Thundermaster Alliance won't cause trouble for now. Let's return. Qian Hu decisively grabbed the Fire Forest Lin Shi leather sack to leave, while Jiang Yun didn't forget to ask the youth beside her. Ye Xuan, aren't you coming back to the city with us? He scratched his head casually in response. You go ahead. I have some things to do. Jiang Yun, slightly disappointed but not insistent, said, All right, be careful. When you return, I'll wait for you to register at Nine Heavens Alliance, and I'll prepare a special joining gift for you. Watching the 4 figures slowly depart from sight, Ye Xuan waved a gentle goodbye. He sped through the densely wooded forest, leaving rows of leaves and grass quickly behind him. His one concern now was hoping those treasures were still there. Seeing the pile of gold that fell from the wolf spider still intact on the clearing, Ye Xuan breathed a sigh of relief. Great. He quickly gathered everything into his bag, excited at the thought that his cracked Keelan soft armor could be replaced by better defensive gear with these golden spider legs. Slung over his shoulder with no effort, the materials felt like soft cotton for the coming cold winter. Under a sky of clouds and gentle sunlight, Ye Xuan finally returned to the mansion where he'd lived since childhood. He threw open the heavy door separating home and street and shouted in the happiest voice, Hu Bang! I'm home. But the scene before him was so horrific that his pupils constricted. At some point the once beloved 3-person home had become a pile of ruin, clearly the result of a fierce battle. The bag full of golden legs fell to the ground, as Ye Xuan stood in stunned bewilderment. Sweat poured from his forehead down his neck in a torrent, like a downpour on his body. Panic mixed with despair surged through his mind and throat at full force. Parents, where are you? What exactly happened? Ye Xuan immediately realized who the sole enemy since it began was. He gritted his teeth, emitting murderous intent. It must be that bastard Liu Ting. Where did he take my parents? After identifying the culprit who harmed his family, he headed straight for the wealthy district of Qing City. Naturally, Ye Xuan's arrival was met by guards blocking him. Hey, who are you? This is the Liu family residence. You can't just barge in. Unfortunately, he was no longer in a mood for words. Murderous rage mixed with fury rose to his throat. Get out of the way. The force and authority in his words alone was enough to turn the guards pale with shock. At the same time, someone behind the heavy door was leisurely enjoying a glass of fine red wine. Unsurprisingly, it was Liu Jing calmly savoring his good life, while his son Liu Jinglong persistently practiced swordplay after repeated defeats by Ye Xuan. All his resentment was poured into each powerful swing, and the way he ground his teeth as if the air itself were the enemy. Yet mingled with that was fear, as Jinglong was forced to take a terrifying blow from Ye Xuan. Next time I'll make you pay. Just as he wished, the person he named appeared immediately in a cool entrance right after he finished speaking. Before he could recover from rage, Jinglong spat blood across his mouth from the heavy impact on his back. And now he couldn't process what had happened. What was that? Was there an explosion? But Liu Jing, who had avoided the sudden event, tensed as if he might burst. That bastard wants to die. How dare he smash the Liu household door? Unfazed, Ye Xuan lifted his foot and stomped hard toward Jinglong through the wooden door. His eyes brimmed with such fierce killing intent that it couldn't be quelled even after downing one man. The aura around him exploded coldly, as if ready to solidify and overwhelm the place. Seeing the face of the destroyer, Liu Jing bared his white teeth and ignored his favored son. Ye Xuan, just who do you think you are? Some men I sent to watch you died horribly. Was that your doing? Those meaningless words didn't register. Ye Xuan focused on one thing only. Speak less. Tell me where my parents are. But the arrogant man paid no heed, and burst into boisterous laughter as he declared, A father's to blame if he can't teach his son. Since you erred, let your parents pay, and today I'll kill you to avenge my men. Their exchange triggered a flash of memory in Jinglong. Father returned just now, looking terrified. Could father really have taken his parents? At the same time, Ye Xuan stepped directly into a life-or-death stance, drawing the dragon blade. My parents are my reverse scales. Touch them, and you'll surely die. Liu Jing kept a look of contempt plastered on his rotten face, relying on you alone, a brat. Unfortunately, he didn't get to say more, as Ye Xuan ignored him and threw a heavy punch at him. Although a powerful transferer himself, he couldn't stop his body from slamming into and cracking the solid wall. Only then did he recover and break into a cold sweat. Stunned. Wait. His aura in just a few short days he's reached the Tang Hall realm already? Fortunately, I also just rose to Tang Hall level 6. This is an overwhelming rank advantage. Then, unashamed to duel a junior, contempt dripped from Jinglong as his body changed. With that little skill you dare provoke me? You're crazy. In a flash he was clad head to toe in stone armor, less mobility but increased strength and defense. Blade-type weapon defense up 40%. Seeing Liu Jing unleash such ferocity, Jinglong as his son, understood and felt both panic and exhilaration. He actually got Dad to use this move. Ye Xuan, you're dead. Giving him no chance to react, Liu Jing clenched his fist and charged straight at him. Despite Ye Xuan's prepared spirit and hatred, the violent wind-rending force still showed a flicker of alarm on his face. But his skills and system weren't for show. He quickly activated the Dark Shadow tactic and narrowly escaped defeat. The Dragon Blade sought the weakest spot of man or beast, but it was already covered by Liu Jing's solid stone armor. He immediately stomped Ye Xuan's abdomen to create distance and finish him off. Ye Xuan was sent flying, falling through the air uncontrollably and landing with a heavy shock on his back. Liu Jing's fierce arrogance spilled into long taunts. You should know the gap between us is unbridgeable. You can't break my defense, and one touch from me will kill you. Before he could endure the barbs, the system notified. Damage from pig-type attacks reduced by 65%, so Ye Xuan couldn't avoid taking the blow. Tension marked his every move. Then, as if deciding something, Ye Xuan sheathed the sharp dragon blade. Though Liu Jing sneered outwardly, inwardly he ground his teeth warily. He'd poured all his force into that strike, and yet the boy still stood, unbelievable. He tightened his fingers again. Ye Xuan said slowly, "If a blade can't break your stone armor, then I'll use my fist," he declared with sky-high confidence. "Then come and use your body against my stone armor." Before he finished, Liu Jing's brows knitted at a chill crawling down his spine. Unseen, Ye Xuan burst forward with such speed that he was suddenly within arm's reach. He unleashed an explosive strike that bent Liu Jing over and knocked him off balance. Beyond the visible damage, the cold system readout. Pig-type damage 500%, proving Ye Xuan's terrifying power. Now Liu Jing, armor shattered, stared in late horror. How could one punch be that strong? He didn't stop there. Even as blood flowed, Ye Xuan's fierce momentum was unstoppable. Swift and precise, another punch sent even more syrupy blood pouring from him than ever before. No time to look tough or resist, Liu Jing ended up toothless and defeated under the youth's hands. Their enmity was far from small, so Ye Xuan showed no mercy and immediately unleashed the butcher's blood image as he grabbed him. In his icy, murderous eyes, the man was nothing but a boar's head, squealing in pain. Running out of patience with wasted time, Ye Xuan didn't stop, unleashing a flurry of flawless punches. "Speak. Where are my parents? Speak now." Over there, panic alone had swallowed up and wiped away all hatred in Liu Jinglong's mind. "Stop. Please stop. If this keeps up, Dad will be beaten to death." His body trembled violently. Yet he was still an upright man in this critical moment. "No. I have to go help Dad." Unfortunately, powerless to act, tears and snot poured out as if he didn't care, but his legs wouldn't obey. "I might get beaten to death too. Ye Xuan, you're insane." By then he was like a death god about to take the life of the wretched beneath him, and Liu Jing could only swallow his pride and plead, "Stop, please don't hit him. Your parents were taken by others."